A year and a half ago, I stepped away from podcasting. At that time, I didn't realize that one of the most challenging and transformative years of my life was about to unfold. The wheels came off exactly a year ago when my husband faced serious health challenges. Then we said goodbye to my beloved dog, Khaleesi. Shortly after that, my father became critically ill and he passed away. And then our family experienced the devastating loss of our son-in-law. Like so many people who find themselves in a season they never would have chosen, I needed time to grieve, time to process, time to ask difficult questions, and ultimately, time to write the book that had been waiting inside me for years. Now I can see the grace in my journey, with my previous podcast ending. It was actually making space for the healing, growth, the grief, and making my big dream come true of writing a book. Time is a gift. And in my case, time was a true gift to me, because this book has been waiting inside me for many years. So after all that, when I started to allow myself to breathe again, I finally knew that I was ready, that the story that was brewing inside of me for a long time was ready to have a voice. That's done, book is published, and now I'm back behind the microphone. After a year like that, I think it's honest to say that I'm not returning as the same person who left. When I hosted the opening, my message was about hope. I started it in COVID when I thought that the world could need a little bit of hope. But today, my message is about freedom. Hope was where my journey began, and I still love hope. But hope as a concept still left me uncertain. Through the 2025 journey, I found something I had been searching for all my life: freedom. Maybe I have to be honest, because to say that I have found it is not exactly accurate, but rather I'm on a journey to freedom. And freedom is the concept that I deeply connect with. Not the kind of freedom that money can buy, or the fantasy of a life on a desert island free from politics, conflict, wars. The freedom I talk about is freedom to be at peace with myself, to live as my true self, the freedom to stop fighting every thought, the freedom to break free from old stories, the freedom to grieve without being consumed by grief, the freedom to pursue growth without believing that I'm broken. For most of my life, I thought freedom would arrive when I finally fixed everything. It would come to me when the trauma was healed, when the weight was gone, when the circumstances improved, when life stopped throwing challenges at me. But what I've discovered is first that freedom doesn't come from somewhere. It comes from within. And it doesn't arrive when life becomes perfect, but it arrives when you stop waiting for perfection before you allow yourself to love. That realization changed the way I look at almost everything. For much of my life, I believed that my purpose was tied to achievement. I wanted to make a difference. I wanted to succeed. I wanted to help people. I wanted to become the very best version of myself. I was competitive. And while there's nothing wrong with any of those desires, I spent a lot of years believing that fulfillment was waiting for me somewhere in the future. Just over the next hill, just after the next accomplishment, just after I fix one more thing. But these days, I see life differently. Some days that might even mean spending time with my 10-week-old puppy. It might mean that I spend time with my grandson. It might mean sitting with a client and witnessing a breakthrough. It might mean singing, just sitting having a downtime with my husband. Or organizing gigs for my Festive Voices business. Or creating something for the sheer joy of creating. A piece of writing, a crochet project, something to do in the garden, cooking a meal for the people I love. What I've come to understand is that I don't have to justify these moments. They are not distractions from life, they are life. And perhaps freedom is not finally arriving somewhere. Perhaps freedom is fully inhabiting the day you are already living. A few days ago, after I decided to come back to podcasting, I sat building my platform, doing intricacies like banner, logo design, finding a name. I had this realization that it's true that just like my book, I'm ultimately doing this for me. Of course, I hope it helps people. Of course, I hope it reaches people. But if I'm honest, that's not the deepest motivation. I'm doing it because creating makes me feel alive. I'm not just waiting for life to pass me by. I'm embracing it. Embracing that I don't have to believe that my podcast has to become the most popular podcast. That's freedom. Or freedom from constantly asking whether I am doing enough. Freedom from competing with other people. And perhaps most importantly, freedom from competing with myself. So I allow myself to create. I allow myself to sing. I allow myself to write, to rest, and to invest my time in my puppy, because I know that's the foundation for her to become an amazing adult dog. And the freedom to spend with my grandson, because they grow up fast. So, no more guilt, because I believe I should be doing something more important. This is my life. This is not a rehearsal. This is not a preparation for some future moment. This is the moment. The greatest freedom I've discovered is allowing myself to live it my way. Ultimately, freedom starts with permission. Permission to be, permission to create, permission to rest, permission to grieve, permission to grow, and permission to enjoy. And freedom is the result. So today I'm back behind the microphone. Not because I have all the answers or I'm the most educated. Not because I've mastered freedom. Not because I've reached a final destination. I'm here because I love these conversations. I'm here because creating brings me joy. I'm here because I've learned that waiting for the perfect moment means that it will never happen. Life isn't something that happens later. It's happening now. And if there's one thing I hope this podcast becomes, it's an invitation. An invitation to stop waiting, to stop measuring, to stop postponing your life until everything is perfect. An invitation to discover what freedom means for you. For me, freedom is simple. It's really the freedom just to be me. And that is where this new journey begins. I can laugh about it now and see that losing the opening gave me the time and space to finally write my book. At the time, it felt like a loss. But today, I can see it was one of the gifts hidden inside that season. It led me back here. Since I'm talking about my book a lot, if you're interested in learning more about my story, you will find my book on my website, a link to it from survival to freedom. So, with this, thank you so much for joining me for this first episode. In the weeks ahead, I will be exploring freedom in many different forms. Freedom from the past, freedom from fear, freedom from expectations, freedom to grow, to create, and ultimately the freedom to be ourselves. I will be sharing more of my own journey, and I will be inviting guests to share theirs too, because every one of us has a story. I'm excited for what is ahead, and I hope that you will join me for the journey. So until next time, be kind to yourself. Allow yourself to breathe, and remember, this is not a rehearsal. This is life.